Mega Man X7 is the attempt to bring the Mega Man X series into 3D. While it is all 3D graphics, gameplay can be either classic 2D, a front-facing Crash Bandicoot kinda style, or free-roaming 3D. The 2D gameplay suffers from the usual PS2 era 2.5D issues like bad animations, slow wind-ups to actions that were instant in 2D games, a general uselessness of melee combat, RIP 0, and a complete and utter lack of impact in everything. Otherwise, it's reasonably close to the gameplay of X5 and X6, and you have all of the basic abilities here, like dash, air dash, wall jump, and so on. All of these abilities actually also carry over into the 3D sections, which is probably the coolest thing about this game. Dash jumping in 3D can be pretty cool when everything else plays along. In the front-facing 3D sections without camera control, you can almost see a vision here. I mean, that's how Crash did it. You take a gameplay style that was mostly two-dimensional until this point, and you add a third dimension in a controlled and limited way, so you don't have to make too many compromises in gameplay for the sake of the camera. Still, hitting enemies with Zero goes from impractical to basically impossible without taking damage yourself. The on-rails camera regularly clips through objects and walls, the lock-on for our new protagonist Axel and Axe only works some of the time, and the relationship your characters have with moving platforms is that if you dare move, you entirely stop being connected to it and slide off. The free-range 3D sections really are where this game is at its worst. The manual camera controls are slow, while the automatic camera movement while you turn is pretty much as fast as you turn. This means that if you ever move away from an enemy, the camera will now point away from it. There is no lock-on in the Z targeting sense, so the only way to ever see the enemy again is to slowly move the camera back in its direction. This is extra frustrating because this is the preferred mode for boss fights in this game, meaning most of the boss fights are total garbage, even disregarding the BURN! Structure-wise, this game relents a little bit and gives you collectibles again. Axe's armor parts are once again found and equipped in pieces, and there are hard tanks and sub-tanks. However, the shitty rescue system from X6 is also back, but a bit streamlined, which is a good thing. You can now only really get some HP ups, extra lives, and basic stat upgrades through this system. One important unlock you get from rescues, however, is playing as the goddamn main character. Axe is an unlockable character for some reason, which makes the armor capsules completely useless until you have beaten at least 4, but more likely 5 stages and rescued most of the Reploids in them. For whatever reason, Axel's charge shot is both weak and pathetic and bound to the alt-fire button, while Axe's charge shot is arguably stronger than ever and works like normal. This makes him disproportionately stronger, especially with the armor pieces. Though, because you get him so late in the game, unless you specifically don't rescue the relevant Reploids, you also have way less level up opportunities for X, so you'll have to weigh if he's really that useful, he is, or if you wanna keep Zero in your team as that weight. Oh yeah, there's a tag team system in this game, and it's pretty much just there to have another health bar. I'd say this is probably a band-aid solution for the issues in X5 and X6, where certain characters didn't even really have a chance in certain parts of levels. But since there's pretty much just a strict usefulness ranking in this game, it really just boils down to extra health bars. This is me advocating for a few more health drops from enemies, by the way. I feel like ever since X4 was slightly too easy, they have been afraid that people would have fun playing their games on a first playthrough. Levels range from alright to pretty fucking bad, but worst of them all is the radio tower. They tried to bring back the tower climbing section from X4 yet again, and this time it's actually horrible. You can see enemies spawn in real time, though that's kinda normal for this game, and the screen space is so goddamn small that Zero's double jump goes completely off screen. The ranged character's lock-on also completely freaks out on this level. Enemies get locked onto when they spawn, but as soon as something moves, that stops and you shoot straight ahead of the tower. You need to be pretty much in melee range already to hit anything, so this is the one level where using Zero at all makes sense. As a fun side note, you can actually put on Japanese voices for the cutscenes in this game, which makes them kinda the best cutscenes of the franchise so far, which is honestly not a huge bar to clear. But the in-game voices are still English, so you can burn to the ground all you like. Yeah man, this one kinda sucks. I can see the vision, but it really isn't enough when everything is as consistently subpar as it is here. Not the worst Mega Man game, not even the worst Mega Man X game, but it's down there. I give it a 4 out of 10.